Batteries fully charged. Launch ready for WWE Aftershock in 3, 2, 1. World Wrestling Entertainment Discussion is live. Cue host Owen Finch.
Welcome everyone to WWE Aftershock Extra. I'm Owen the Birdman Finch and I'm here with
Chris.
And today we're going to cover Payback and the Kurt Angle documentary. Obviously we're doing this Monday. By the time you see this, Raw's probably going to happen. And with how things are going, looks like NXT is probably going to have already happened when you see this video. Because I haven't talked to James or anything like that about what's going on with the future when it comes to producing and everything like that. Because obviously shit's hitting the fan right now in the world of wrestling. So, well, just one company, I guess. So, but it is what it is. But yeah, I wanted to do this yesterday. We had the plan to do it yesterday, but then I missed Payback because of the bullshit I had to deal with my video not working and all that type of stuff. So I had to re-record Week 35's WWE Aftershock. So that's why you're getting this today. Better than not getting it at all. So, yeah, we're going to cover Payback. We're going to cover the Kurt Angle documentary that took place. So we're just going to get right into it. Now, you are going to do the Payback notes, but you missed the kickoff in the first match, so I'll just host that part of it, and then right when I get to the parts of the show where you've seen something, you'll just have to just tell me when you're just going to start taking over the fucking notes. I feel like, too, I'm going to be like mid-sentence. You're just going to be like, oh, wait, I saw this. I'm going to be like mid-sentence. I'm going to be like mid-sentence. You're going to completely cut me off and everything like that, too, and it's just not going to be fun.
My notes.
Yeah.
My notes, motherfucker.
But let's get right into it. We had Payback, and I copied this over from my Night of Champions notes, so it doesn't even say Payback. It just says WWE Night of Champions 2023 notes. So I guess Night of Champions happened twice this year. So isn't that cool?
The Night of Champions.
Even though there was only 2 title matches the whole night. So yeah, there you go. We had the kickoff. We had the panel of Wade Barrett, Booker T, Caleb Braxton, Jackie Redmond, and Peter Rosenberg. I think we talked about this at SummerSlam because that was the first time they were on the panel. There's way too many people on the panel for the frickin' pre-show. You don't need... How many people on the panel? I think it's it's Wade Barrett, Booker T, Caleb Braxton. There's 5 people on the panel, and I think there's just way too much going on. I think at the very most, you should have 3 people on the panel, not freaking 5. That's way too many people on the panel. But obviously, as normal, there was a lot of weird stuff that was being said on the panel because of all the people that are on there. They're all weird in some sort of way. Booker T, when he got introduced, was expecting his theme music to play. He's like, where's my music, man? Where's my music? He was expecting his theme music to play because he's that important.
Poor guy.
Obviously, they continue.
Disrespect.
I imagine you probably know this. As you remember from the SummerSlam kickoff, Jackie Redmond and Peter Rosenberg were just trying to make each other laugh and trying to making references on the show that only they got. So it was more of that going on this show.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. They did predictions, and I think I didn't watch the pre. I just had it on the background and just listened to it. I don't know if there was as you remember, there was production issues going on when they were doing the picks. Remember, Booker T picked someone, but when they did the graphic, it wasn't even who Booker T picked because he delayed so long doing his pick and all that.
He takes about a quarter century to say who he's gonna pick.
Yeah, so Jackie Redmond, when they were breaking down the tag title match, just randomly decided to ask Booker T. So, Booker, out of anyone here, who would stand the most chance in a Pittsburgh Steel City street fight? Just randomly decided to ask that for no reason. And she's like, but you can't say... But Caleb Braxton was like, but you can't say me, because I wouldn't do very well anyways. So, Booker T ended up saying Wade Barrett because he's a bare-knuckle fighter. He's a bare-knuckle champion. And he went into, Black Snow Booker T mode, and he was talking about that, too. It was so weird. yeah, it was just not. This panel was just not good. Like, I feel like this is one of the negative changes that they've made to the product recently. Is just the panel. Like, I think it's terrible. Like, at least Booker T, you only have to heal him for like an hour. But yeah, and we can say this now because but this was the first time we had to watch Payback without the Peacock Premium thing. It freaking sucks. We don't get any of the video packages, and it just cuts a commercial break randomly too. Please have that fixed because I hate this. At least we can watch the wrestling shows, but I hate having ads on freaking Peacock now. It's terrible.
I'll find out in like a day or two.
Yeah, because I bet you thought, oh, he's just gonna forget. He's not gonna ask me. Oh, I'm not forgetting. I'm not dealing with commercials anymore. I hate this. Like,
yeah, we'll find out. It should be resolution soon.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like, so that was kind of what it was. But going through it, Grayson Waller got interviewed, and he talked about what it was gonna be like to, have Cody Rhodes on the Grayson Waller effect. And he talked about, how he gives people the Grayson Waller rub. Anybody that is either feeling down on their luck or they haven't been, that they haven't been seen in a while. If they need a little bit of love, they come to Grayson Waller. And he points out all these people that, he thinks has gotten the Grayson Waller rub and how their careers and stuff have been better off for it. Do you agree with him, or do you think he's just talking nonsense there?
What an egotistical prick.
There you go. Wade Barrett tried to give Grayson Waller advice, saying not to piss Cody Rhodes off like right away, saying that you need to take this with caution because Cody Rhodes may seem like a nice guy, but when he has to get aggressive, he won't hesitate, and he used the SummerSlam match as evidence of that. And obviously, as you can tell when we cover that segment, he doesn't take Booker T's advice. I think right away he just starts pissing off Cody Rhodes, so he didn't take this advice very well. Booker T talked about how he thinks Grayson Waller is the future of the industry and all that type of stuff. And he said, weirdly enough, he said he's going to be the first main superstar to come out of NXT. I think he meant the 2.0 NXT because I think Booker T's got his facts wrong. There's been loads of superstars that came out of NXT, but I think he meant the 2.0 era of NXT, but I don't know what happened. But because it's Booker T, you can't just assume that stuff, Grayson Waller was just making fun of I almost said Peas and Rosenberg, but Peter Rosenberg the whole time. Just
Pizza. Let's go.
But yeah, Grayson Waller was just making fun of him the whole time, talking about like how he doesn't look as good as he does and all that type of stuff. And yeah, hey, I was okay with this because this was after Peter Rosenberg kept trying to make references to Jackie Redmond, so he deserved this, okay? And yeah, that was basically it. He just afterwards, everyone just wished him luck on the Grayson Waller effect and everything like that. And then he walked off and said that they were just wasting his time and all that type of stuff. So it's, what a great guy Grayson Waller is right there, just ragging on everybody on the pre-show and everything like that. Except Booker T. He thought Booker T was cool. So he said that him and Booker T go way back than the NXT days. It's like, okay. I guess they go way back, even though Booker T wasn't even there. He wasn't even there all that long when Booker T was even there. So I guess they go way back, though. I guess I don't know what's going on. But what do you think of? I know you didn't see this, but how does this sound to you? This Grayson Waller interview with the panel and everything like that.
He's definitely he's an asshole. You can say that. He's being rude.
He even walked off with the mic. He says, "I'm keeping this. This is mine now." So he's stealing stuff.
Right now? What an asshole.
I know, he's stealing shit. What the hell's going on? He needs to get his life together, I guess. I don't know.
You're a criminal, a thief.
Yeah. They just let him walk away with it, too. Like, Booker T was just like, it's fine. We can get more mics and all that type of stuff. Like,
what a thief.
I know. Booker T let this shit happen. What is he doing? Like...
Can't stop him?
Yes, he didn't want.
I guess he's afraid.
I guess he was. I guess he's not like a 5-time WCW champ anymore, so I guess he forgot. And then it showed the patriotic cancer segment. It showed a video package saying that, if you donate a lot of money and all that type of stuff, whoever's the most donated to the patriotic, thing they have going on, you can either meet Cody Rhodes or Bianca Belair. So you better start donating, Chris, because then you have a chance to meet your hero, Cody Rhodes. So you better start donating.
Hero. My childhood hero.
I think I think they said you get the option. It'd be funny if you didn't get the option and you were thinking, "Oh, I'm going to donate," and then you don't even get to pick. You end up meeting. I mean, you probably like to meet Bianca Belair anyways, but you end up you don't even get to meet Cody Rhodes after all that. I think you'd never donate the cancer stuff again. You'd probably just go. I think you would freaking cry after all that, sucking away all your money, and you don't even get to meet Cody Rhodes after that. Like.
I'd be in tears.
I know. I feel like it cried like right when Bianca Belair showed up, being like, "Hey, you were the most donor, and now you get to meet me." And then you're like, "But I wanted Cody Rhodes." I feel like you act like such a 2-year-old about it. You'd be like, "But I wanted Cody Rhodes." Like,
give me Cody.
I feel like huh?
I want the Cody.
But yeah, continuing. So that was the pre-show. I thought we had a decent kickoff. Again, the panel is just terrible.
It really is terrible.
What would you do to change the panel up? Would you just
take 3 people off of it, or 2?
Yeah.
If it was just Booker, first of all, you don't need 2 hosts.
No, you don't.
If it was just like Jackie or Kayla, and then keep the 3 wrestlers, I'm fine with that. Or 2 wrestlers and Peter Rosenberg. I'd be okay with that. But it's just there's just too many fucking people there. Too many voices.
Yeah.
Even if you want to take Booker off, it just have to be Rosenberg and Wade Barrett. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
But it's just there's just too many cooks in the kitchen, and it just gets too complicated.
Way too complicated. Then we had the show. We had the commentary team of Corey Graves and Michael Cole. We had the cold open where it showed that everyone was going to want to get Payback on this show, which was pretty cool. Okay, that was a false alarm. You realize right now I'd be fired from WWE in a second because I kept sneezing, so can't be doing that.
We know the big boss doesn't like that.
I wonder what would your plan be if you were around him and then you had a sneeze coming in? Would you try to hold that shit in? Like, be like, oh, shit, kid.
Don't think you have a choice.
I know. Imagine you're, over his shoulder and you just sneeze over his shoulder by accident, and he's just like, I think he'd be like, yeah, I think you know what's going to happen here. I'd be like, yeah, I'll get my stuff. Like.
You're fired.
You're
fried.
Yeah. But anyhow, yeah, we had the cold open. It showed that everyone wants to get Payback and all that type of stuff. And it kicked off with the steel cage match. It was Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. Tiffany Stratton was watching this match from the crowd. They're clearly going to set that match up, I think, at No Mercy, probably, for the belt. I don't think they should have gone about it this way. I think I talked about this when I did the Week 35 review. I think Becky should have been the one to confront her first because it doesn't really make sense that it's Tiffany Stratton because it doesn't really fit her gimmick and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it makes it, super... Not only predictable, but I thought it'd be a nice surprise to have Becky Lynch show up on NXT out of nowhere. Now you know what's gonna happen, and type of thing. But whatever. But yeah, we had this match, and yeah, this was actually a great match right here. It's a shame the feud doesn't warrant that, but it is what it is. And throughout much of this match, Trish Stratus keeps trying to escape from Becky Lynch. She tries to either go out the door immediately or over the top, but Becky Lynch continues to stop her. She throws Trish several times into the cage, and at one point she threw Trish into the cage, and she caught herself onto the cage and started climbing, and Becky had to go grab her. Eventually, Trish throws Becky into the cage. She dominates her for several minutes. She grinds her face several times into the cage, which was awesome. And then she gets a nice suplex into the cage. Eventually, Becky Lynch mounts a comeback. She bounces Trish's face several times into the steel cage, which was really awesome. And, the match continues. There's a manhandle slam done by Lynch, which Trish kicks out of. There's the Stratusfaction done by Trish. And she doesn't do the Stratusfaction like the normal way she does it, where where she goes off the top. She did it off the middle rope, so I thought that made sense that Becky was able to kick out of that because, it wasn't with the normal effect. There was callbacks to the first cage match because Trish Stratus was meant to hit the Widow's Peak. It wasn't exactly the Widow's Peak, but it was meant to be. And then Becky does the Twist of Fate, and this is a reference because of the two women that were in the first steel cage match. But none of those moves finished the match. There's several times where Trish is nearly about to escape, and the most influential time or significant time was she was about to go down. All she had to do was drop down, but Becky Lynch pulls her legs through the holes of the steel cage, and she's like hanging upside down. And Becky Lynch is able to utilize this to hit a superplex from the top of the cage into the ring. So, but Becky's not able to get the win there. And then Trish hits the Stratusfaction off the first turnbuckle, and she gets a leg drop following this, but Becky kicks out. And then, as you expected, Zoe Stark ends up interfering, and, they do a spot where Becky and Zoe are trying to do a tug-of-war over Trish to try to get her either out of the cage or keep her in the cage type of thing. And Becky wins it, and Becky tries to go out the door, and predictably, as you would expect, Zoe slams the door on Becky's head, and Trish nearly wins with a roll-up, but Becky kicks out. And then Becky does hit the manhandle slam, but Zoe Stark breaks up the pinfall, and then there's a spot where Zoe tries to continuously help Trish, and Zoe's pretty much trapped in the cage. Becky closes the door behind her, and she beats up Zoe Stark. She lays her out with the manhandle slam, and then following this, Trish is about to escape. Becky has to run up quick to grab Trish, and she hits a manhandle slam off of the top turnbuckle onto Trish Stratus for the win. And Becky Lynch wins. It was a great match. I gave it 4 stars. I thought this was a great blow-off. It would have been 4.25 had they not had Zoe Stark interfere. I mean, that was just really stupid. What's the point of a cage match if you're just gonna have interference in it anyways? So
yeah,
and obviously,
the theme of the night.
Yeah, and then obviously what I didn't like was obviously I don't like the concept that you have to escape the cage to win. It kind of defeats the purpose of a cage match. I feel like it should just be pinfall submission to end the match type of thing. They basically should make the cage match what the NXT made their cage matches, as you remember, where like it's weapons around the ring and all that type of stuff. And if you escape the cage, you basically lose or something. Like basically make it War Games type of thing. But anyhow, that's the end of that. Becky finally wins, and then at the end, as I've been predicting for months, Trish and Zoe Stark start jaw-jacking with each other. And Trish slaps her in the face, and Zoe Stark lays her out with this. I think it's the C213 or whatever the finisher is. And Zoe Stark turned on Trish Stratus, and I think this is the end of heel Trish, because even though it was meant to be as if Zoe Stark was the babyface, I think it's the opposite. Because at the end, you didn't see this; you had to go on YouTube to find this. Everyone was showing some great support towards Trish Stratus and everything like that, saying thank you, Trish, and everything like that. So, if they pick this back up, I think when Trish comes back, she'll be a babyface again, and there's a well-made feud right there for her. So, yeah, I gave this 4 stars. I don't even see this match, but from what you saw of it and stuff, what did you think of it overall and everything like that?
I gave it 4 stars too. I think this is a great way to blow it off in the cage. The match was great itself. Finally, they had a match that was that was pay-per-view worthy. But yeah, it just it's weird. Like they tried to play off like Zoe was going to be the babyface, which seemed really weird.
Yeah.
Obviously, the easy answer is to turn Trish face and have Trish be the one to feud with her as a face. I wouldn't have done the slap in the face. If you wanted to keep Trish the heel, I would have had Zoe slap her in the face and then hit the finisher, because then it's just like, okay, that just makes Zoe come off looking like the babyface, which is really weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's still great stuff though. Now this is where you can take over because you've seen from this point on. So when do you start taking shit over?
I'll take the shit over. So next we had Cena come out, and he comes out to cut a promo about what he's going to do for the night as the host, and then he again wanted to take some tips from the Miz, and basically announced that he was going to be a special guest referee for the Miz versus LA Knight.
Yeah.
And who comes out? The Miz. He's pissed. He was so pissed that Cena was the special guest referee. Didn't like that at all. I kind of liked it. I liked it because give John something to do on the show. It's the only thing he fucking does on the show as the host of Payback.
Well, he
the only
does.
thing he does is that special referee match.
There is one more thing he does actually on the show, but we'll get to that later. This was good stuff. I liked the Miz here, where John Cena was like acting like he was trying to get advice from the Miz and everything like that, and then eventually it just leads to him, like the Miz says, you have to be hands on and all that type of stuff. And he tried talking about how he had 2 matches at WrestleMania. I mean, technically he had 3 matches at WrestleMania. They always forget about the second match he had at WrestleMania. I love too the judge is like, so I'll just be the special guest referee for the match, and it's like, no, like it was so funny, like
I loved it. It was
good stuff.
I like how he just had the shirt ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, as host, you have to have that shit ready. So
then we had that match next. It was John Cena as a special guest referee for LA Knight versus The Miz. And over the course of this match, there was a lot of like jaw jacking, kind of going back and forth between LA Knight and Cena, which I thought was really interesting, and The Miz and Cena. So, because they kept like doing spots where they're about to hit John, then they'd stop, and then they'd fucking kind of like get into his face and whatnot. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
I liked that, and LA Knight won with the blunt force trauma, the BFT, which was kind of the expected outcome of the match, because he had just gotten his ass beat the last couple of weeks, so by the Miz, and then the Miz made fun of him on Raw. I think he laid him up with the skull crushing fin out of the week before that, and then this week he did it again. This past week he did it again, but yeah, so it looks so. I mean, there was the obvious outcome that he was going to win, but LA Knight's still massively over, so it doesn't even matter. I liked it. I give the match 3 stars.
Yeah, this match was pretty good, I thought. I like, John Cena was a good referee. He wasn't overbearing or anything like that. And I like that they didn't do like the finish where LA Knight wins, but it's because of John Cena. If anything, Cena almost cost him the match because he still gets laid out with the skull crushing finale and still kicks out. So I like that LA Knight still got like relatively a clean win. And now if you want to continue the program, you have a reason for that, because now the Miz is just going to blame John Cena for that and all that type of stuff. So you can continue the feud. And afterwards, it's John Cena basically puts over LA Knight. He shakes his hand after the match, tell him he earns it, raises his hand and everything like that. And this was pretty good. I give it 3.25 stars, and I thought the right result, because we've been saying for months LA Knight needs this win, but he's always recovered. I think this was the match where if LA Knight didn't win, it was going to be basically like, what was the point of pushing him and all that type of stuff. So I'm glad they went with the right result, and I think LA Knight's finally getting a push. I would love it if, I talked about this before. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I would love it if he was the one to dethrone the Tribal Chief, because it's probably still going to be Cody, but LA Knight's just so over, I wouldn't complain if they pivoted to him instead, just because, it wouldn't make sense storyline-wise, but, it'd be awesome. I still think he should have gotten Money in the Bank, especially with what happens on this show. Just because I thought that would have benefited him a lot, but it is what it is.
It is. It's I agree with that.
But yeah, this is pretty good stuff. I gave it 3.25 stars.
Yeah, it was a good. It was a good match. I did like the inclusion of Cena in it, and having like them go like back and forth throughout the match, and then having like Cena like raise his hand at the end, kind of be like, okay, I give you like the seal of approval type of thing.
Yeah, it was good stuff. I think we talked about this. We'll just talk about it now. Because Cena's going to be around for like the next month or so. I think I talked about this. We talked about this off air. Like they have, because obviously right now he's just kind of in the mix. Right now he's just kind of doing fun things. But I kind of hope they get him involved in like a storyline or something like that while he's at least there and all that type of stuff. Just because, it's going to get very repetitive and very stale if he's just kind of there, not really doing anything type of thing. I feel like, he needs to do something of consequence before he leaves. Because who knows how long, Because I know he's scheduled to have a match at the Superstar Spectacle this week. But I think he needs to have... I definitely think he's having one match, at least on TV. I imagine it's probably going to be the last show that he's going to be on for a while is when he... But again, that all depends on what's going on with these Hollywood strikes and all that type of stuff. Because that's why Cena's really there right now, type of thing. So, what about you? What do you think about what's going on with Cena being back and all that type of stuff?
It has to. I think it has to do with the Hollywood strike. Once the strike is over, we don't know when that's going to be. It could be a long time. It doesn't seem like it's getting any better. But yeah. He needs to get in the mix and do something, and like be involved in some way, and like in a match. Like I know he's in the Superstar Spectacle, but like I just don't. He just needs to be involved in a storyline somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't care who it's against. Like if they want to have him face like Grayson Waller, that's perfect. Rehash Theory. Give Theory a little bit more of give him a rub in some way. See if he can salvage him. Now that he's going to be here for a little bit longer. I think you can run that back, and it would definitely fucking help Austin Theory out of irrelevantness now.
I know. I think that's the good thing too about John Cena being back too. Is now if someone does beat him, it's going to have more significance now because he's going to be there at least for like a month. And all that type of stuff. He won't just be like a complete one-off and all that type of stuff now too. Like
yeah,
because again, I always forget that he was at WrestleMania this past year. Like
it's pretty forgettable.
Yeah,
because it did nothing for Austin Theory.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of Austin Theory, his match is next against Rey Mysterio. Ray got out of the box really fast.
Yeah.
And got the upper hand quickly, but then Theory started to do his heel shit and slowed it down. But and then he started to dominate for a while. Then he tried to go for the mask, and that pissed off Ray. And then Ray started kicking his ass, and whatnot. But the finish happened when Ray went for the 619. He nails it, but then he goes for the patented the frog splash, and Theory put his knees up. And Theory tried to go for the A-Town down to try to get the win. And Ray countered it and rolled them up for the victory. I give this match like 2.5 stars. Like, it just felt flat, and it felt like why? Like, he hit him with the 619, he counters the splash and hits the roll-up for the pin.
Yeah, I could have won.
Down. I felt like it should have just been 619, frog splash, pin. Done.
Yeah.
More impactful than that. It feels like a weak roll-up. Like, come on.
Yeah, I thought the match was good. I'll give it like 3 stars. It was good for what it was. But yeah, I would have had it be like more definitive and all that type of stuff. And, just kind of, it just felt more like a TV match than a PLE match type of thing. So
it's the only one on the card that really felt like a TV match.
Yeah. So it is what it is. It was good for what it was, though.
Yeah, it was fine. It got Ray over as champion again, but like we said, where's Theory go from here? He's really kind of just lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, I think the best way to get him out of that is to do a tag team with him and Grayson Waller, because that seemed like that's been working out recently with.
Yeah, I would do that in a heart.
Yeah,
just to save them a little bit here.
because that would help. That would help both of them out, I think. So,
It would. I think that would big time.
and I really hope
Uh,
now that I hope they don't do the whole thing now where LWO turns on Rey Mysterio and all that type of stuff, because it doesn't make sense for Santos to turn. I think a lot of people think it does just because Rey took his title shot and everything like that. But if you watch that SmackDown, Santos gave Rey his blessing to go for the title shot. It doesn't make sense for Santos to turn, really.
exactly. Like he gave him the blessing to go after the United States title, and then like it just wouldn't make any sense story wise. Like he's there, he gives him the blessing. Ray didn't want it.
Yeah.
That was Santos's moment.
Yeah.
And then he gives him the props. Like, yeah, and they even point to the ring too. Like, go to the ring. Like, go like defend.
Yeah.
Like, go win the title. And it's like, come on. Like, you can't.
I wouldn't.
That. That's just fucking stupid.
I would complain if they did a match, like say, "Hey, I never got my title shot," type of thing, and they just do face versus face. And you got, if you have Ray win like via roll up that way, and then you have Santos turn, that wouldn't be a bad thing. Santos is finally like done with, playing second fiddle to Ray. He shouldn't turn though, just because Ray took his title shot. That just doesn't work for me. But like, if you want to turn Santos because
with a loss,
yeah,
what I would do is that because again. I would have Santos beat Ray for the title, and then just move on.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Because at the same time, I don't think Ray losing the title hurts him at all.
No.
Get a nice little run with the title. Have him drop it when Santos is ready, or healthy, or whatever. Have him drop it, and then you drop this whole fake, non-real dissension thing.
Yeah. That'd be fine. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Because, again, I don't know what was supposed to happen. Because I feel like Ray was supposed to win the U.S. Invitational. But because he got that concussion, I think that's why they did the whole thing they did with Santos and wrote him off and everything like that. So,
it just seems really weird that they would go in that direction.
Well, remember, Ray got his concussion in real life. So that's probably... So I think he was supposed to...
Yeah.
I think he was supposed to... He was supposed to win the Invitational. But because he got his concussion, they had to stop the match short and everything like that. So...
It just seems like really odd, honestly. But like, I think it's too early to give up on the LWO. It's still
definitely.
Massive.
Yeah.
It's still a massively over group. And like from what I'm reading too, like eventually, Angel and Umberto are gonna come back up and join them.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd like that.
That's something that now, like right now, like they're doing that whole thing. They're not breaking up as tag team, but like they're doing that thing on NXT now, where it's like. They're gonna compete as a tag team in NXT, and that's like they're dropping their fucking woman chasing gimmick now.
Which I'm happy about.
And they're just gonna be Angel and Umberto. They're gonna be, grandson and grandson of a fucking luchador and nephews of one of the greatest fucking underrated performers of all time in Hector Garza.
Yeah.
Like it's just like to make sense, but yeah.
But yeah, But yeah, Theory needs to after this. Theory needs a serious rebuild after this, though. Like he's really lost in the shuffle.
I would even turn him face. Like I feel like he needs something that's different. You could even do Grayson Waller versus Austin Theory with Austin Theory being the face.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I think that program would rule.
I'd love that. Yeah,
that'd be a great program. Next is the Undisputed Tag Team title match. It's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest.
Before that is the Becky Lynch interview. She gets interviewed backstage about the cage match, and this is where Tiffany Stratton comes up, and she does like a half-hearted apology, saying, "I'm sorry, I thought you were NXT Women's Champion."
That's just like that Becky's gonna win. I hope so. I really hope so.
Because I think Becky winning the women's title would really turn that division around, type of thing. So,
I think if you have Becky win the NXT Women's Championship and have it be like visible on TV, and have her going down to NXT and defending the title, I think would work wonders for that. Would work wonders for them.
Because I think the ultimate plan is to do her versus Rhea Ripley for the women's world title, but Becky needs something in between to do. And I think Becky Lynch winning the NXT Women's title. And this way, too, Becky and Rhea could have, some type of face-off or something. Maybe where like we cost Becky the title against like whatever heel they want to have her face in NXT. I don't know. It's looking like that's gonna be. It's looking like that's gonna be Roxanne Perez because sometimes me Roxanne Perez is going heel. I think. But the way she's been cutting promos and stuff recently, it seems like Roxanne Perez is going heel. I'm not really sure, but
Or
the reason,
edge the character.
but the reason I say that is that promo she cut before the 4-way seemed very heelish. So,
Yeah.
but I think Becky going to NXT though is definitely a good step. There's a lot of people she can wrestle in NXT and make them better out of it, and I feel like too. I'm hoping this is kind of like people in NXT realizing that Tiffany Stratton as NXT Women's Champion is just not working because it really isn't working. So that's why they're gonna put the belt on Becky because that's the only thing Becky hasn't done in WWE yet. So
That's true. But yeah, so now we have the Undisputed Tag Team Championship match. It's Cammy versus the Judgment Day, comprising of Finn Balor and Damian Priest.
oh, something we should mention, but before we even talk about this match, because you love this. So Rey Mysterio, because this was like roughly around a year mark since his son turned on him. He was wearing the exact same jacket from when his son turned on him. I bet you're loving this. He crossed out his son's name off of that jacket. I bet you love that. Like,
Deserving. It's deserving.
I love to think Ray just decided like, hey, I'm just gonna cross off my son's name now. Like he went to like whoever designed that jacket. He's like, yeah, can you cross off my son's name? Like he turned on me. Like I'm not dealing with this. Like,
I'm not gonna go this too much in depth. I'm just gonna say like, go and watch this match because it's too chaotic to cover in full.
yeah.
I'll just go over some of the points, but at one point, Finn Balor took out the terrible towel because they're in Pittsburgh. Terrible towel is a staple of Pittsburgh. It's a towel that they wave around in the stands, and it's a very memorable item from the Steelers. And he stomped on it. Britt Baker didn't like it either, so that's something.
I don't care about Britt Baker though, so who cares?
She didn't like that very much.
Well, she doesn't like anything.
Neither do I, so I don't fucking care about her either. But she's from Pittsburgh, so she had to be mad.
Well, she's just trying to get attention on social media as she always does.
Ancient whore.
Yeah. You can tell I don't like Britt Baker, so.
It spills to the outside, and Damian Priest and Finn Balor use hockey sticks, and they start beating the shit out of Kevin and Sami. They throw basically into the penalty box, and then when they come out, they have Pittsburgh Penguins jerseys on. I think it was Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby, I believe.
Yeah. What was hilarious is Michael Cole was inadvertently called on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Corey Graves was pissed when that happened. Like he was fucking.
because he's from Pittsburgh. He's a fan of those teams, so.
But it was it was really funny.
Oh yeah, because Dum Dum came out and assisted them, and they got thrown in the penalty box. And then when they came out of the penalty box, they had hockey sticks and Penguins jerseys on. I believe it was Lemieux and Crosby. I'm pretty sure. And then Kevin was bleeding. That was bizarre.
Yeah,
he didn't get. I don't know where he got cut, but he got cut pretty bad. They came on. They started beating the shit out of the Judgment Day with the hockey sticks. And Kevin, I think it was Kevin, and had Dom, and he brought him into the entrance, one of the entranceways, and did a swanton off the guardrail onto Dirty Dum Dum through the table. That made my night.
Dirty Dom.
Dirty Dum Dum, yes. That swanton was a beauty.
No, was it a beauty because you liked the way Kevin Owens performed the move, or was it a beauty because it happened to Dominic Mysterio type of thing?
It's a beauty because it happened to that piece of shit son. No good fucking scumbag Eddie Guerrero wannabe son. Great value bargain brand fucking 99-cent store fucking Eddie Guerrero.
Now, I do have to ask, what would make you like Dominic Mysterio again, other than him rejoining his father again? Like, what would make you like...
Being nice to his dad. Be nice to your father. God, he came from your testicles. You came from his testicles. Okay? No matter what you can do, be nice to your father. He birthed you into this world. Ungrateful son.
But yeah, continue talking about the match.
So they're back in the ring. It's Sami Zayn and Damian Priest, and Sami hits a haluva kick, looks like they're about to win, and then JD McDonough comes out of nowhere and pulls Sami off of the pin. And I think at this point Kevin came back, and he almost throws fucking JD McDonough through the table. That was fucking brutal.
Yeah, it didn't even break.
He like picked up to go to the pop-up powerbomb, and like he just picked him up and just fucking threw him on the fucking table. I was like, oh my god, brutal. That the spot looked fucking insane. And then near the end of the match, Rhea Ripley, Kevin Owens is standing in the corner by the timekeeper's table, and Rhea Ripley takes him out, comes out of nowhere, and spears him through it. And with that distraction, I think Sami went for another haluva kick and went for the pin, and I think it was dumb shit, or was it? It was JD. No, it was dumb shit. Came in with the briefcase and hit Sami in the back of the head, and put Priest on top of.
No, it was Finn. It was Finn.
Finn. Yeah, that was Finn. The other time was Priest. This time was Finn, and he put him on top of Sami, and they got the win. I give this match 4.5 stars. I thought this match was great. But my honest critique of this match was it was just way too much interference.
Yeah.
Way too much interference. And it was kind of like, and it kind of got a little overbooked at the end.
Definitely.
That was my only critique. The match was fantastic, but my only critique was too much interference, and it kind of got like way too overbooked at the end.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would give this like 4 3/4 stars for the same reason. I still love this match overall and everything like that. I don't hate Judgment Day becoming the new tag team champions. I think it's finally time they take over the WWE and everything like that. I do have a couple questions though. Why is Damian Priest Money in the Bank if he's just going to be the tag team champion? Like, I understand he still has a year, but if you were going to just do this, why didn't you just give the briefcase to LA Knight to begin with? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah, that's just that part's like,
because now it's kind of
weird. Like,
I feel like too. A reason I say this too is because I feel like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn did a lot as tag team champions, but I don't think it was time for them to lose the belts yet. I think there was
way too soon.
Yeah, I think if there was a better team for them to take the titles off them, and that's I think the Street Profits with what they're doing right now. Because I think every tag team that's like a big tag team right now are mainly heels right now. The Street Profits are heels. Imperium are heels. There's a lot
Judgment
of heels. Yeah, Judgment Day are heels. There's another heel tag. I know there's another one that's like a big time heel. Viking Raiders are heels. And I just think there was a lot of tag team title matches you could have still done with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Because Kevin Owens also just came back recently too, so I think it's a bit too soon. And again, I think the reason I say why it was... Like, I don't think... It's not a bad idea to have Judgment Day become the tag champions, but again, it kind of makes Damian Priest's Money in the Bank useless for a little bit, because now, it seems like everything's just going to be fine with Judgment Day. Like, it doesn't sound... Like, who the hell is Damian Priest catching his briefcase on? Because, if it's not Seth Rollins anytime...
Now?
Huh?
It doesn't seem like anyone right now.
Yeah, because he's not let's be honest, no one's cashing in on the WWE Undisputed Universal title until there's a new champion. And Seth is the perfect person for Damian Priest to cash in on, but yeah. It just also
is he gonna go for a hard title?
That's what I'm wondering, yeah. Also too, it's also really weird because I feel like this was time for a shake-up with the Judgment Day, because they did this big thing where, like, if they all didn't walk out with gold, there'd be changes to Judgment Day, and I thought this was an easy path to having one of them lose and having one of the people get kicked out of Judgment Day. Like, Raw feels very formulaic at the moment. It always feels like there's the same thing going on, and the beginning and main events, and with the Judgment Day either standing tall or losing. I thought this would have been a nice shake-up for the Judgment Day to have somebody get kicked out and have JD McDonough take that person's place, whether that's Finn Balor's or Damian Priest's place. But
Mr. 8 o'clock Finn Balor.
also, too, I don't think this ends the storyline. Like, I think the whole point of this was to end. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens says this was supposed to be the end. This was going to be the last match. But I think this is going to continue now. I think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are just going to get a rematch at Fastlane now. So, what was the point of all of this now, too? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, this doesn't really,
My thing would have been, I would have had Damian take the pin and then Damian get kicked out and have JD McDonough take over Damian's spot.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Yeah, that would have been a better outcome, I think. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. It doesn't look. My biggest critique is, like, I don't think this should. If Damian Priest was gonna become a tag team champion, he shouldn't have won Money in the Bank then. Like, that just doesn't really. Like, LA Knight.
It's the title on the back burner now.
Yeah.
Or the briefcase on the back burner now.
Yeah, so. I mean, again, you have a year. I'm okay with having a long-term Money in the Bank contract holder. But if you were just going to have Damian Priest become a tag team champion anyways and all that type of stuff, then why did you give him the briefcase? Like, again, I think LA Knight was always meant to... I think he was going to win that briefcase, but then there was some fighting backstage, and Damian Priest, again, was the... basically, he was kind of like, the cooler head. Like, he was kind of the one that both parties were able to agree on. Because I think LA Knight would have probably won that briefcase if things had gone according to plan and everything like that. But whatever. Before because there was a segment. By the way, too, they should have inverted the Women's World Title match and the Unified Tag Team Title match. I think the reason they did it this way was because they didn't want the World Title match to get overshadowed, but it also made the Women's World Title match very predictable about who was going to win when that happened.
Oh, yeah. 100%, yeah.
But before, because I know you're going to forget, they also showed an ad for No Mercy, hyping that up. That's going to take place on, I think it's like September 30th, I think. But, yeah, that was good stuff. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to do some retros to hype up for that. We're going to do an NXT special retro. It's going to be NXT, I think it's Roadblock 2022 that Chris picked. We were supposed to do that before, I think Battleground it was, or it was supposed to... No, it was supposed to be before the Great American Bash, but we never got around to it. So we're going to make up for that, and and at some point I'm going to pick a No Mercy to do before then. So we have a couple of exciting retros, and then get to the actual next segment of the show.
So, now we have the Grayson Waller effect. With special guest, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Cody looked like he was in no mood for this talk show today.
No.
He basically said that at any moment he could just crossroads him. And I was like, please do that. That'd be awesome.
And immediately, by the way, Grayson Waller did not take Wade Barrett's advice. He immediately just starts shitting on Cody Rhodes and everybody. So that was a mistake.
So basically the whole point of it is Grayson Waller's just antagonizing him the whole time. And Cody gets up and says that he has a surprise. And that it could go one of two ways. It could go really bad or really good. And he basically announces that Main Event Jey Uso is back, and that he is on the Raw brand, in that Cody Rhodes, now is moving to SmackDown. They basically traded off, and Grayson Waller, again, doesn't know how to shut his mouth. Fucking cocky, pompous son of a bitch. He starts talking shit to Jay, and Jay super kicks the fucking shit out of him.
Yep.
And it was awesome. Fucking clear. One kick to the face, motherfucker, down and out. Loved it. I loved every second of it. Yeah, I mean, this felt like a TV thing again. Like this felt like a TV Grayson Waller type of Grayson Waller effect that could have been done on television instead of a pay per view or PLE. So like it was kind of thrown on there because Cody had nothing to do.
Yeah, they want to get him
Uh,
on. I do wonder to, because this is obviously, if this segment was meant to happen on TV, but there's been so much shit going on where they've had to rewrite the shows recently with everything that's been going on. They just decided to squeeze it in on the pay per view because if you remember, this was kind of announced last minute, like on
was.
SmackDown, like not even this week. It was like last week, but there was no altercation and all that happened. I think this was meant to happen. If I'm guessing, this was probably meant to happen on TV, but they had to rewrite the shows and everything recently and everything like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I am gonna give them a little bit of a pass that they had to do it here. Yeah, I personally I enjoyed this though. Jey Uso being on Raw now, I think is gonna be a good thing. It changes up what he can do on Raw now and stuff. There's a lot of people he can wrestle now on Raw. You know, it keeps him away from Jimmy Uso because obviously we know that's coming eventually. The biggest thing I would like to see him do is obviously either challenge, but most preferably dethrone Walter for his IC title because I think that would get him over huge and everything like that.
Yeah, because now I think right now Gunther's at the record, I believe, because he needed to get through Payback.
No, he needs to get through Raw. He has to get through Raw tonight at the time of this recording.
I knew it was coming up within the next like few days, so.
I wouldn't immediately do that feud. Obviously, I would wait and like have like Jay doesn't need to get into a storyline right away. I would have him like show up here and there. I imagine he's gonna basically just take Cody's spot that he had on Raw, where he'll be like the number one babyface. Probably number two. He's probably the number two babyface at the moment because Seth is probably number one now.
Yeah, Seth is number. It's like even when he came up. By the way, Jimmy and Jay solo theme for the first time in their careers.
Yeah.
On SmackDown, Jimmy had a variation of Day One-ish, and then Jay had his own variation where he sung it. So, I thought that was interesting. Again. I thought for sure. I mean, together they're a great tag team, but solo individually, they each individually got huge pops on SmackDown and on the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view, fucking, they went. The place went. Pittsburgh went insane.
And something that caught on, something that caught on. I'm happy that because we caught it on SummerSlam, the thing where he like lifts his hands up and does like the wave almost. That's caught on now too. I'm happy.
Oh my god, that was like that fucking. PNC Arena, what the fuck it's called now, PPG Pants Arena, the fucking whatever the fuck it's called in Pittsburgh, went fucking crazy, went fucking ballistic for him.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit! I'm like, he's still. I think like when it first originally happened, like he would still get like big cheers, but not like at like Cody like cheers or LA Knight like cheers. It's like at that level right now, and it's like it's like crazy to see that.
Yeah,
like. Out of the I never expected them to go solo. Number one, either of them, Jimmy or Jay, and two, to have like Jay be as over as he is.
Yeah,
I figured they needed each other to get over, but it's like now that they're separated, it's like they're great together. But now it's like interesting to see what they do on their own.
Yeah, I really wish. I mean, I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle. Like, I think Jay will do better on Raw than Jimmy's going to do on SmackDown. Because right now, Jimmy Uso's stuff doesn't even make sense what he's doing right now. And I think he's going to struggle a little more because as good as the Bloodline stuff is, he's going to be mixed in with that. It seems like the big storyline he's going to have is whether or not he's going back with a Bloodline or not. I like that Jay's going to be... He's basically just going to be doing his own thing on Raw. Don't even have to worry about any of that shit right now. Like,
yeah.
I think Jay's going to do a little bit better on Raw than Jimmy will on SmackDown because... it is what it is, but, yeah, and, I like that it was Cody that did this, because, it makes sense for the storyline, because, Cody has a beef with Roman Reigns, this gets him back on SmackDown, and this makes it a little bit more, realistic now that he could challenge Roman Reigns at some point, so yeah, we got there. I will say this would be better though if they stuck to the brand split up to this point though. Like people were just jumping around brand to brand. Like what's stopping Jimmy Uso just from following his freaking brother on Raw? Like just him not wanting to and all that type of stuff. Like This would be better if they stuck to the brand split the whole time and all that type of stuff.
I
They
agree
didn't have
with that,
people
too.
jumping back and forth because
I think that this itself gives a I don't think he's going to jump back and forth for a while. I think he's going to be solely on Raw for the time being.
I know. I'm just saying we've seen people just jump back and forth whenever they want to. Anyways, what's stopping Jimmy Uso from just deciding, hey, I'm just going to go Raw and just call out my brother? Because we've seen people.
I would doubt that either.
Yeah. You know that's going to happen, by the way. Jimmy's just going to go to Raw for no freaking reason. He's not even on Raw type of thing.
He's just going to jump right over. It's
Yeah.
obvious. It's probably going to happen at some point, but I think for the time being, it seems like Jimmy's trying to hash things up with Solo. But yeah. So next is, is Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez for the Women's World Championship. It's a very back and forth matchup, especially in the beginning. They're showing a lot of their power and everything. So that was pretty cool. And then Rhea ends up winning after dumb shit gets involved again with a fucking surprise. The little fucking asshole can't fucking stay away. Causes the distraction. Rhea kicks Raquel in the knee and basically wins the match. Yeah, I give it 3.5 stars. 3.5.
I thought this was good. I'll give it 3 stars. Again, I think what hurt this match was how predictable it got, just because you knew after Judgment Day won all the titles and everything like that Rhea wasn't going to drop a championship type of thing, so it was pretty predictable towards the end, and not in a good way. And Corey Graves said a line that, Michael Cole hated to admit that Dominic Mysterio was the MVP of the Judgment Day for the night because he basically is the reason they have all the gold that they have now and everything like that. So I bet you hated hearing that too. I bet you were thinking about it too. I'm like, shit. Corey Graves is right. He really is the MVP of the night. I bet you're like, fuck. I have to agree with Corey Graves here.
I agree with Corey Graves.
Huh?
I thought that Dum Dum was a fucking piece of crap the whole night and wouldn't fucking was an asshole.
So you don't think he was the MVP at all at Judgment Day?
No. He doesn't deserve
Wow. Even though he's the reason that Judgment Day is
Now they can't talk about themselves.
Okay then. But yeah, this was still good stuff.
And now we have the main event of the evening.
Well, before that, John Cena's backstage, and he's an interviewer for the night. He interviews Judgment Day, and he asks them about winning the tag titles and everything like that. And it's just basically this interview where they just talk about how they're ready to take over Monday Night Raw and everything like that. And they actually throw shade at John Cena. And I like this because John Cena doesn't really know how to throw it back. So he's just like, I guess back to you guys, I guess. I don't know. He didn't really know how to transition out of this. And then we had a Fastlane ad, because Fastlane's going to be October 1st or whatever. So, what did you think of these 2 segments right here?
They were fantastically great.
There you go. And then we have the main event. Not the show.
Now
so
we have
it.
Now we have it. Shinsuke Nakamura challenging World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. And they showed at ringside WWE Hall of Famer, the legend, Keiji Muto, the Great Muta.
Yep.
That was awesome to see. He didn't do anything, but it was awesome to see him. Felt like it was really odd to fly him in from Japan to Pittsburgh, just to have him sit there and not do anything.
Well, he wanted to show support to his boy Shinsuke Nakamura. So, yeah, they probably could have done a backstage segment with him or something like that. I guess.
Or have him in the match.
Maybe. That would have been cool.
Go for the miss on Seth, and then Seth dodges it, and then he hits Nakamura with it or something.
Yeah, that would have been fine. Yeah, but anyhow, go through the match.
So I'm not it's the same thing with the tag match. This match is so fantastic. Just go and watch it. You don't need me to talk about it. Just go back and watch. Just go and watch it. This is another one of these matches. This is fantastic. They had so much chemistry together. Just a really good hard hitting match. Nakamura's just taking advantage of all Seth Rollins' injuries and everything. It was just a really good match with a lot of good storytelling in it. But yeah, Seth Rollins wins with a stomp. Like, this match is fantastic. I give it 4 stars.
Same. Yeah,
It's
Seth.
just one of those you have to go out of your way to watch.
Yeah, great stuff. I liked how Seth won too, where he basically just got like a lucky shot in type of thing. It didn't make Nakamura look too bad or anything like that. I'm glad they didn't do like a lame roll up finish because that's what I thought they were gonna do. But Seth just won with the stomp. I thought this was the right decision to have this close the show, just because you could have made an argument that the tag title match probably realistically should have closed the show because that was the biggest thing that was happening throughout the night, and they did the big thing with the pyro and everything like that. It would have built intrigue, but we're at a point here where we have to get this world title to be like a legitimized main championship in WWE. And if it doesn't main event, it's not going to get there. So it needed to main event this show just for the significance of the championship and everything like that. I thought they made the right call here to have this main event. Like, even though the story didn't warrant it, I feel like too. Yeah, the title did, because this title's hasn't been able to main event yet, because I think every time it's been defended, Roman Reigns has been on the show somehow. So this title really needed to have a main event like closer, type of thing. And yeah, they had great chemistry together, which I don't think is a surprise because they've faced each other many times before. And at the end, we didn't see this on the pay-per-view. It was during the exclusive. They did do an angle when Nakamura attacked Seth after the match, so they're going to continue this.
Good. Like that.
I don't know why they didn't just do it on the pay-per-view. Like,
yeah. Like an exclusive.
Yeah, like, it didn't really make sense. Like, you could say like it wouldn't have sent the people home happy, but they were gonna see it anyways, whether it was on the pay-per-view or not. Yeah. So it's like, why didn't they just do?
And it didn't make any, like, the way that Nakamura was pacing in the background too, and the way they shot it. You could see Nakamura's pacing in the background.
Yeah, so
like, why not just have him blast him in the ring on pay-per-view on the PLE, and then have the fucking have the referees pull him off of him?
Yeah, like, I didn't really
like it. It just, like, I don't like how they did that.
Yeah, especially too because I think I know a lot of people would have watched the segment, but it just would have. I think it would have been more impactful if you ended it off with a pay-per-view that way, type of thing. Makes people want to watch the show and all that type of stuff too. But yeah, I'm happy they're continuing the feud. It makes all the sense in the world to continue the feud, because I don't think there's another person right now that Seth can really face for the world title at the moment. I think this is still the program to go with and everything like that. So
I think Shinsuke eventually wins the title.
Yeah, he might.
I think pay-per-view. I think they're probably saved for the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, he might. But yeah, we have to wait and see. Overall, that's Payback. I thought the show was really good, really solid. I'm going to give it like a really good, solid B. Just really good show, and really nothing wrong with it. What did you think?
I give it a B too. Like, this match was carried by the opener and the cage, the tag title, and the main event. Really carried the show. The women's match was like, it was good, but like, it was definitely in a tough spot. I could have done without the Rey Mysterio Austin Theory match. I know I'm probably forgetting. And Miz and LA Knight could have been on that. I mean, they need the pay-per-view blow off, but again, that's like a TV match too, also. But yeah, like, overall, like, there's 3 great matches on this show.
Yeah. I think we should just say this. We haven't seen a bad PLE or anything like that from WWE since the regime has changed. I know it's September now. There's been reports that it looks like it's not going to stay that same regime. I don't want to spend too much time talking about that here, but it looks like that may change in a bit. But at least as of right now, we have not seen a bad PLE from WWE this year. I think every PLE has been relatively good, which I think is great stuff. I hope it stays this way, but You know, we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, that was Payback. I enjoyed Payback. I mean, think about it. We said it was the weakest show, and it was still like a B quality pay per view. If we get pay per views like this, at least consistently, I'm gonna be okay with that. So
I am too.
yeah. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll talk about some more what the company will be like, because, you know, the UFC, whatever, that merger is supposed to happen, I think this month they said. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But I think as long as the regime on the product and stuff changes, I'll be okay with it. But let's get to why else we're also here, and that's the Kurt Angle documentary that aired called Angle.
Angle.
I wonder why it's called that, but
I'll be back in a second.
yeah. So Kurt Angle had a documentary on Peacock, and obviously I think apparently this was a thing for a while. Chris Dodd mentioned before that they aired this on USA Network, but they're just airing it now on Peacock and everything like that. And I guess because of the success of Cody Rhodes, The American Nightmare, they decided to air it now. And I'm happy that I got to sit down and watch this. It's very powerful, I'll say that. They cover a lot of stuff that I kind of expected them to cover, but not cover really in-depthly, so we'll just, get started. If you haven't seen how we covered the documentaries before, just go watch the Cody Rhodes one. I forget exactly. I think it's the Great American Bash, Cody Rhodes extra. So check that out. But yeah, let's just start off by talking about it. So
I'm back.
Okay, I'm just about to talk about it, but
I had to run to the bathroom.
Oh, there you go. You can't ignore that. But anyhow, as I mentioned, you said this documentary isn't new, right? It aired earlier this year on like USA Network or something like that.
Yes, it was a. It aired after, I want to say NXT one night, like way back, like months ago.
Okay. I'm surprised. I didn't see any ads about it or anything like that. So
yeah, like it had been a. I thought it was new, too, because they when they played the video package for it, and I was like, oh wait, that's the thing that they aired on USA Network.
Yeah. But yeah, let's go through it. So it starts off by talking about his childhood, and stuff before wrestling. They talked about his childhood. They talk about how his family was a big sports family. They showed like his brothers. I think Eric, I couldn't tell you all their names, but I know Eric's one of them. Which one's the one that's been on WWE before? The one that like has, huh?
That's Eric.
Okay, but they talked about how they were a big sport family, and Kurt Angle talked about how they weren't really wrestling, but they were sports fans. So they played all the big sports and everything like that. And they talked about how they would always get into fights when they were younger. And they mentioned, that his family always got into trouble, but Kurt Angle never did get into any trouble. He mentioned that Kurt Angle was always a good boy when he was a kid. And I do kind of like it because you get to see it from both perspectives. Like, one brother would mention that they really didn't get into trouble, but the other brother's like, no, we got into trouble. So I like that you got to kind of see, like, different perspectives on it and everything like that. And then they talked about his dad. Kurt Angle talked about how his dad had an alcohol problem. He was a big alcoholic. But he wasn't an alcoholic like you think he would be. Like, basically, he drank all day, but he only drank, like, I think he said, like, Jack Daniels pretty much all day. He would just fill up the glasses. And he doesn't mention it really here, but he mentions it later on in the documentary. Like, he mentions, like, his dad would isolate himself from the family, and he would basically go out of his way to basically drink and all that type of stuff. And, Kurt Angle talked about, he's the one that admits that. He talks about how his brothers would never admit that. He talked about how his father was close to his sister. He's the only one that his father really hugged or anything like that. And then they mentioned that his father was a construction worker. I forget exactly what he did construction-wise, but he mentioned that he had a big accident. He went to grab his lunch from a forklift or something, and he took a bad fall. I think he said he fell right into a hole and hit the back of his head, and like his shoulder. And during this, they cut to like an interview. I think would this have been an interview Kurt Angle did before the Olympics? Like, it shows like footage from like 2001 where Kurt Angle's talking about this situation and all that type of stuff. So it's pretty cool. Like you got to see like stuff from Kurt Angle really when he was like in his 20s and all that type of stuff. It's really crazy. I think that's Kurt Angle just because like he was pretty nervous to talk. I mean, he had to talk about some pretty bad shit though, so can't really blame him, but
I can't either.
Yeah, they mentioned that his father had to be basically put onto a machine and all that type of stuff, and then his mother eventually had to be the one to finally decide, like, you know, to unplug the machine and everything like that. You know, they mentioned that his mother begged his father to come back, and then before they pulled the machine, his sister was really upset about it. They had to basically pull his sister off, which is going to tie into what happens to his sister in the documentary. And yeah, Kurt Angle just couldn't believe it. And Kurt Angle mentions that he really wasn't even sad for his dad. Like, obviously, I think he was upset to lose his dad, but he was sad to see his mom in that state. I'm not going to assume anything, but I don't know how close Kurt Angle was with his dad because he doesn't mention, like, really his relationship with his dad, really. He mentions that he was just, like, an alcoholic, so it's really tough. He doesn't really go into it personally. He doesn't mention it really at all during this documentary, but I'm not going to make any assumptions or anything like that. But he doesn't mention, like, the relationship that he actually has with his dad. I think it was a relatively good one, but because he mentions, you know, that his dad's basically the one that got him into wrestling practice. His dad even said that he's going to wrestling practice. But it kind of is weird because Kurt Angle mentions in the documentary that his dad never forced them to do anything they didn't want to do. But then he mentions that his dad basically forced him to go to wrestling practice. So it's kind of weird how that happened. So again, it's all from his perspective, but it is weird to think like he mentions his dad says, "Oh, he didn't force us to do anything we didn't want to do." But then he mentioned he forced you to go to wrestling practice, dude. He didn't even want to. Like, really weird. But yeah, anything else because I figured we broke this into sections. Anything you want to mention from, you know, Kurt Angle's early life? This is basically his early life right here and all that type of stuff.
No, I think you pretty much covered it. Like, it's not. I mean, yeah, his dad dying was a big traumatic event that happened in his early life. But yeah, you pretty much covered it.
Yeah, it's really sad stuff, and then you know, in a weird way, it leads to him kind of going into the Olympics and all that type of stuff. He mentioned he was playing football in high school, and he did really well. Like, it was, I think it was like the day after his dad died and all that type of stuff. He didn't want to play, but he did it because, you know, that's what his dad would have wanted. And he said that he did, like, really well. Like, just something came over him and all that type of stuff. And then one of the coaches and stuff mentioned that he should just go into wrestling. So he wrestled. He did amateur wrestling. He won a ton of state championships and everything like that. They mentioned big feuds that he had. He mentioned he had one with Sylvester Terkay. He was a big opponent, big in the amateur wrestling league and all that type of stuff. And then they mentioned, you know, it was a underdog moment where Kurt Angle had to face this guy. And he was basically the underdog, and he ended up beating this guy, and he won the state championship. He mentioned he went to he went for the Olympics a couple of times, and he got eliminated from the Olympics very easily back in 1993, 1994. So he went to this really elite school. I think I forget the guy's name off the top of my head. You could probably tell me if you know it. The coach wasn't the one that started the school, but there was this guy that started the school. I think it was Tony Deppen, I think his name was. And he started the wrestling school because he just loved wrestling. He basically funded it. And Kurt Angle's actual coach, I'm just going to look it up because he's a big part of the documentary.
David Schultz was his coach.
David Schultz.
John DuPont was the one who started it.
Okay. So yeah, John DuPont started the wrestling school, and David Schultz was his coach. And Kurt Angle mentioned that he went there to basically be better. And he talked about how he started doing training. Like, basically, all he did all day was just train for the Olympics, which is a pretty big thing for the Olympics anyways. He mentioned, like, what his training, sessions would be. Basically, I think he said, like, he would be up at 4 in the morning just training, and then he would go to bed. He wouldn't even go to bed sometimes until, like, 1 o'clock in the morning. He was basically on the go, and he did some pretty extensive training. And then, it looked like everything was going to be all good. Like, he was all ready to go to the Olympics and everything like that. It was going to be the big training time. And then there's just more tragedy. So, I believe David Schultz basically got shot. I think it was Tony Deppen that ended up shooting him, and he ended up passing. And this Kurt Angle originally could have gotten like a bunch of money. By the way, like a bunch of lawyers were gonna just pay off these wrestlers that weren't gonna get paid, but Kurt Angle didn't want to accept blood money. Pretty much is what he saw it as. So David Schultz's wife started like a class. I think it's like the David Schultz class. I don't think that's the exact name of it. But he basically started a class for all the wrestlers that David Schultz trained and everything like that. And Kurt Angle participated in that class. And it helped him basically get to the Olympics. Which leads to, what's about to happen when he actually gets to the Olympics. But, anything else you want to say about this? Because the next thing we're going to talk about is pretty extensive and all that type of stuff. So... your thoughts on this part of the documentary and everything like that.
So, John DuPont was fucking insane.
Yeah, they mentioned that.
Yeah, he had gone insane, and David Schultz was trying to calm him down, and he ended up shooting him and killing him. And David Schultz was like a father figure to Kurt. They were extremely close. They had a father-son type of relationship, and it really crushed Kurt that his trainer and someone who looked out like a father in his life, after his father had passed away, had gotten killed. But yeah, it's just a lot of tragedy in his life before he became a professional wrestler. Like It's just like his father dying, and then his wrestling coach, who he's insanely close with, gets murdered. Like it's just a really tragic start for him, but it ends up getting a lot better for him now.
Yeah. So then he talked about how he went to the Olympics. He did the U.S. Open, which basically qualifies you to get to the Olympics. And the problem was obviously this is very known story. He breaks his neck. Basically what happens is someone did like a big overhead toss takedown to him, and he tried to catch himself, and he ended up breaking his neck. And pretty much Kurt Angle had the option to pull out of the tournament, but the reason why he couldn't pull out of the tournament is because it basically would have been worse, because then he would have had to go through another tournament just to get to the Olympics. So basically winning the U.S. Open would have basically given him a bye in the tournament. He would have just made it right into the finals. So they go through this big thing where he talks about, how he was, he did make it. He essentially really didn't even do any wrestling, actually. Like, he mentioned the guy that he wrestled, was trying to wrestle Kurt Angle, but Kurt Angle was trying to not wrestle him, and it ended up working out for Kurt Angle. And then Kurt Angle then... realized that, he had a broken neck. There was, like, no way it was going to heal in time before the Olympics. And he basically, he tried to get, like, an extension on the Olympics, but there was just no way he could get the extension. So, they kept him, and he couldn't even really train to wrestle. Like, he would try to wrestle with the broken neck, but it just wasn't happening. So, Kurt Angle, this doctor came up with this great idea where they were just going to shoot him with Novocaine pretty much, so that way he wouldn't feel the pain or anything like that. So that's kind of what happens. And he gets to the Olympics, and unfortunately for Kurt, the guy that ends up facing the Olympics is like a guy that has been known to try to hurt, not that he tries to hurt people, but because of his how competitive he is, it's someone that will make you actually try hard in the Olympics. Like he would, he would have, he was going to do whatever it took to take it from Kurt Angle. So when Kurt Angle got to the Olympics, he had to face this guy, but it ended up benefiting him because the guy kept trying to go for his neck, and Kurt Angle was able to do counters. Eventually, he won the Olympics, and there's real footage of it and everything like that, where Kurt Angle talked about how happy he was, and he mentioned like he was going to retire from wrestling, and I don't even think I mentioned this. It didn't even it had to come down to a judge's decision. Kurt Angle won via judge's decision and everything like that. He was thinking he was going to have to come back and do this again in 2000 and all that type of stuff, which just imagine how different the industry would have been if he didn't win the Olympics here. And yeah, that's basically kind of what happened. It shows interviews. It shows when he, went on, I think it's the John Lennon show he was on, where he mentioned talking about that, and then he just kind of didn't really know what was next from that point. Various people were talking about this. Daniel Cormier came on, Ronda Rousey came on, and Mark Henry were talking about this because Mark Henry and Kurt Angle went to the Olympics. I don't think they didn't do the same thing, but they were basically in the 1996 Olympics somehow, some way. So, yeah, this was relatively good stuff. So, this is kind of your thoughts on Kurt Angle's Olympic journey, just him winning the Olympics in this part of the documentary.
I think I thought it was fucking cool. The fact that he did it with a broken freaking neck is even more impressive.
Yeah.
And the person that he went up against in the Olympics, I know he wasn't trying to hurt him, but like, it's just how he is. Very physical dude. But yeah, that's like it's such a great feat. It took him like, it's just awesome.
Yeah. And then they talk about his journey to get into WWE. They mentioned, they don't go into the storyline in depth, into the story about it in depth in the documentary, because I think they've expected you to have seen the WWE 24 documentary, right before Kurt Angle came back the first time. So they kind of expect you to watch that, but I'll just say what the story was, because they do mention it a little bit. So Vince McMahon did reach out to Kurt Angle. Obviously, originally, Kurt Angle denied the offer. He's talked about how, he was a real wrestler. He didn't want to be like a sports entertainer and all that type of stuff. And then Kurt Angle talked about how he just started watching the product, and he saw that these were like real athletes doing legitimate stuff. And he said, ironically enough, the character that connected with him the most was Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was kind of insane that because Stone Cold Steve Austin wasn't the type of wrestler you would think like a amateur wrestler like Kurt Angle would connect with and all that type of stuff. But that's the wrestler that he talked about, he really enjoyed watching. And then eventually Kurt Angle got signed to WWE. And he mentioned that
after he rejected the first contract.
Yeah, they don't talk about this in this documentary, but obviously this is relatively well known. I think Kurt wasn't going to go in. He rejected it because he said like he would have to win every match because he's a legitimate wrestler. So it kind of led to him. And then they don't talk about this in the documentary, but it is mentioned that Kurt Angle had to go back when he wanted to come back. He didn't have that offer anymore. He had to basically go through developmental and all that type of stuff. But he made the jump really quickly to like the main roster. It shows like a little bit of him in training and like OVW and everything like that when that was going on and everything like that. And then they mentioned they kind of briefly talk about like his wrestling career in the WWE from 1999 to 2006. They talk about how easily and how surprising it was that he transitioned into wrestling, because a lot of people who are like real athletes don't transition into the business all that well. But Kurt Angle was somebody that did that. He mentioned that he was able to connect in all different ways. Where he mentioned he was like he could do the sports entertainment comedy type of stuff, but he could also basically get in there and kick your ass. Various people talked about that, like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Gerald Briscoe, Ric Flair. Those were like the main ones that talked throughout the documentary. And Kurt Angle just mentioned like some of his favorite opponents that he had the best chemistry with. Like he mentioned the Undertaker match at No Way Out 2006, the Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania 21, and obviously the matches he had with Brock Lesnar. So Kurt Angle talked about like how he really wanted to learn the psychology and everything like that. And it showed all the moments where he tried to act like a tough guy, but it just didn't connect and all that type of stuff. And The Rock they do this funny bit in the documentary. It's where The Rock mentions, like, yeah, he talked about how he would angle slam me, and it just shows this funny montage of every time Kurt Angle just angle slammed The Rock and everything like that. It was really hilarious. And yeah, they just basically mentioned that he transitioned very well into the business and everything like that. Again, I don't think they spent a lot of time talking about this part of it, because it's stuff that was talked about a lot in the 24 documentary, so that's why I didn't talk about it here. Because I think by this point, if I remember, I think it was only like an hour into the documentary, and the documentary is like an hour and 47 minutes, so that's why they didn't spend a lot of time talking about like his time in the ring and everything like that. I think it's stuff that's very well known. So your thoughts on him, like, talking about his transition into the wrestling business and just him in the business and all that, and itself and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, he's a natural. He was a natural, more than I think he thought. Yeah, like, he's one of the best to ever do it. Like, it's insane to see, like, his transition from being a amateur collegiate-style wrestler to being a professional wrestler, sports entertainer. It's an awesome journey.
Yeah, great stuff. And then the documentary just gets really sad for like the rest of it, pretty much.
Oh yeah, his struggles.
Yeah, it goes through his struggles. I like the way they show it though. That shows like a timeline of it happen, and then The Rock mentions like a lot of people have struggles, and some come out the other side, and some do not. Then it kind of transitions into talking about Kurt Angle's struggles. He mentions, that he had neck, issues anyways. And he mentions that during a match in 2003, he had a match at No Way Out with Brock Lesnar where he had him on his back and he sent him into the turnbuckle, and he took like a really bad whiplash into it, and he was going to need neck surgery. And, Kurt Angle, basically was going to miss WrestleMania. He wasn't going to make the main event, but what motivated him was, I think he said like one of his neighbors or something was like a kid, and he had like he had the picture of the poster, and the kid heard he wasn't going to do WrestleMania, so it's like, are you not going to be able to make WrestleMania with your neck injury? And that basically motivated Kurt Angle to want to make WrestleMania. He told Vince he was doing WrestleMania, and he did WrestleMania, and he mentioned there was going to be a surgery. Originally, he could do the stem cell surgery that Stone Cold Steve Austin did back in 1999. And obviously, they mentioned he came out really roughed up anyways from that WrestleMania match. Both him and Brock Lesnar did. And Kurt Angle mentions that he could have done the stem cell fusion, and he would have been out though for like, I think they said like 6 months. It was going to be a while. He was going to be out. And then he has mentioned that his agent got a hold of his doctor got a hold of his agent. He mentioned there was like this new surgery that he could have done where all it was going to basically do was just close the wound. And Stone Cold Steve Austin described it as basically just tuning up a car type of thing, where you're not really fixing the damages and all that type of stuff. You're just basically just putting a bandage over a wound type of thing. But Kurt Angle did that surgery. He was out for like, I think they said 6 weeks. He came back, and then he was out again with another neck surgery. So that would have been 2003. And then It happened again. I think that happened again in '03, and then like in '04, right after WrestleMania 20, it happened again, and Vince basically just said, "Yeah, you're sitting out for a while." And then he was out for a while. He came back, and then in the documentary, it's not mentioned when he gets his neck injury again. But I think it's very much implied it was during the one night stand match he had with Randy Orton, because they show that footage when he was talking about the neck injury again. So he just had a strand of bad luck, just continuously getting neck injuries, and they were just basically just he was just basically just putting a bandage over the wound type of thing. So yeah, before we get to his actual struggles, your thoughts on Kurt Angle just getting these neck surgeries and all that type of stuff?
It's definitely he definitely rushed it in a lot of cases, where he could have easily taken the 6 months off and whatnot, and then healed and then come back. But instead, he even admits he rushed it because he wanted to get back.
Yeah,
and it really ended up causing him to break his neck a bunch more times, and it just continues his downward spiral.
Yeah, it's really not a good start for this. And then during this time, he started taking painkillers to ease the pain, or not feel the pain at all.
Percocets.
Yeah, and he took.
That's where the nickname Kurt Angle comes from.
Well, there you go. And he mentioned that he didn't. He started off with just a few, but then obviously, I think he said he started, and it went up to 4, then it went up to 8, and then it went up to I think he said he was doing 16 a day. It was a lot eventually.
It's fucking so much more than you shouldn't be putting in your body.
Yeah, and then while this was going on, he mentioned that his sister was having issues. She mentioned that she had a lot of bad marriages. She was homeless, and she kept asking Kurt Angle for money, and it would always be she would always tell him that it would be because she has bills to pay and stuff like that. But then Kurt Angle would find out later on that it was just so she could get drugs and all that type of stuff. And then I think Kurt Angle found out that she was $35,000 in debt, and Kurt Angle gave her an ultimatum pretty much that she either goes back home and lives with her mom, and he'll pay her debt pretty much, or he just won't pay her debt. And she ended up doing that, but then she relapsed, and Kurt Angle got pissed about this and said that he gave her an ultimatum pretty much that she either gets clean and goes to rehab, or he's never going to speak to her again. And basically she chose the latter, and I think he said 6 months later, she ended up overdosing, and obviously it really affected Kurt Angle because obviously the last conversation wasn't the greatest that they had, and Kurt Angle found out the same day of the 1 hour Iron Man match with Brock Lesnar, and he was considering not doing the match. He didn't really, his heart wasn't in it, but he still did it for his just to get his mind off of it pretty much for an hour and all that type of stuff. And, the match went really well. It's just really interesting to think, though, that, I think that you should like that match a lot more because the match is great enough as it is anyways, but considering the fact that Kurt Angle wasn't in the best headspace, that match had no business even being any remotely good as it was. So, eventually, Kurt Angle then continued talking about his painkillers problems, and he mentioned how much he was taking. It got to the point where Stone Cold Steve Austin mentioned he would talk to him on the phone, but he would be very shaky. Sometimes his voice would change, and Stone Cold would be like, "Dude, you good?" And Kurt Angle's just like, "Yeah, I'm fine." But it wasn't to be. He mentioned that Vince McMahon had Jim Ross, who appears in this documentary. He had to have him have a conversation, and Jim Ross just couldn't get Kurt Angle to admit that he had a problem and all that type of stuff, And then Mark Henry would mention that he would get pissed, that it would kind of ruin their relationship a little bit and all that type of stuff. And then, eventually, it just, the painkillers basically overtook him and everything like that. And Vince McMahon mentioned that Kurt Angle was given an ultimatum: either he goes to rehab, or he basically, I don't think he says he's fired type of thing, but he basically just leaves the company. And Kurt Angle chose to leave the company because he didn't think he had an issue. They actually show the segment of I think it would have been Bite This or whatever with Todd Grisham, where Vince McMahon mentions the firing of Kurt Angle and everything like that, like in real time in the documentary and everything like that. And he mentioned that Kurt Angle didn't feel like he had an issue, so it led to his departure from WWE and everything like that. So, that just very sad stuff. Your thoughts on this part? This part of the documentary, which led to Kurt Angle's departure from WWE? Because it's gonna get real. It's gonna get real more sad after this.
It's very sad. He couldn't get himself under control for the longest time, and it was a really, really tough time for him. He lost his career basically. He lost his dream job, and it's really sad.
Yeah. And then they mentioned that during this he met his wife that he's married to now, Giovanna. Completely skipped over the first wife he had and everything like that. That never happened, I guess. So, I guess she doesn't exist.
He had no first wife. What are you talking about?
Which is kind of funny to think about, because it was still sad to watch, but they mentioned like Giovanni was a part of all this. They like tried to make it seem like too they all had the same, like Kurt Angle had all the kids he had was with her. It's like I think you forgot somebody here. Like I think you forgot someone. Yeah, so it reminded me of I think it was it AJ Styles when they were doing that storyline with Samoa Joe, where he mentioned Joe mentioned one kid, but like they completely didn't even mention other kids that he had and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
it was
the three boys.
But yeah, Kurt Angle, I guess, only had one wife that was there the whole time. Like there wasn't any other wives in between that or anything like that. But
nah,
yeah, just they don't exist. Maybe Kurt Angle really is a bad dad and a bad husband, because he could be bothered to mention any of them in this documentary right here. So, but yeah, they mentioned Kurt Angle eventually just continued it in the business. He went to TNA Wrestling. This is the second time now where there's been a documentary. I mean, where they completely bashed a company. This time it wasn't even the WWE. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin was just like, "What are you doing in TNA? That's not the big leagues." Like Stone Cold Steve Austin completely buried TNA. Like it was hilarious. They mentioned though that's when his pills got even worse. He went up even more in pills, and then he started drinking, and he would mix the pills with alcohol, and he got a bunch of DUIs. I think he's mentioned he got like 5 DUIs in this from like 2007 to 2012 or something. It was like a lot in that time. He mentioned basically that he had like a schedule too of when he was going to get all these pills and where he had to get it from and how much he had to pay. Like he tried to keep up with the schedule more than being with any of his kids and all that type of stuff. He had to make sure that schedule got kept and everything like that. I still think it's funny they show footage of like his first him with his first kids and everything like that. And Giovanni's like, yeah, I was there through like the bad times. She's not anywhere, and then there's footage or anything like that. It's like, Giovanni, where are you? You said you were there. Where are you? You're not there. Like, you're just not there. So, she said she was there. Like, but, yeah, it gets really sad. It eventually leads to him. I think it's his 5th DUI, and and he mentions, that everything just fell apart. It shows footage of what had actually happened, and Giovanni basically gives him the ultimatum that basically they're going to leave him if he doesn't get clean. So basically, Kurt Angle goes to rehab. He talks about the struggles of what it was like to go to rehab, and unfortunately, during this time, I remember this too. He got a knee injury right after he got out of rehab, pretty much, and he had to basically deal with the injury in real time. He couldn't take any painkillers or anything like that because he would have relapsed, and he had to basically learn a new way to do rehab and everything like that, which eventually led to him, finally being open. He talked about, what it's like being like a new father and how he's learning all these types of stuff and everything like that. And then it led to him going back to WWE, being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and mentioned that, it was all everything that he worked for and everything that he wanted when he went back and everything like that. So that was really the end of the documentary. They don't mention anything that happened like when post WWE. Like, it kind of stops once he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. But they do like a little thing where they mention everything that happened like afterwards. They mentioned like he retired in 2019. Now he's like a loving father and a loving husband. He's adopted now a new son, and now he like works with other people. I think he said wrestlers, trying to get them into rehab and everything like that. So, and he has his own podcast. He didn't mention that. I guess his podcast is important enough to mention in the documentary. So, just completely forgot about his podcast. So there you go. But yeah, your thoughts on the end of the documentary and how he gets clean and everything like that, and like kind of how bad he was. I probably should doing that time in TNA and everything like that, and Stone Cold Steve Austin burying TNA, because that was pretty funny.
Yeah, they Steve Austin, that was really, really funny. It's good on Kurt though to admit that he finally had a problem, and even though it wasn't probably by choice, but yeah, like he eventually got clean and sober, which is awesome. Yeah, he got to go back to WWE, which is amazing. Yeah, it was awesome. It was really good. I liked it.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, I did like too how The Walk was back into it, mentioned that he figured Kurt Angle was going to come up the other side, like after Kurt Angle had gone through all this bad stuff and everything like that. So, yeah, that's the end of the documentary. It's a fantastic documentary. I would give it like an A-. It's awesome. I don't think it's as good as the Cody one. I feel like, it's very sad. It's tough to, I know it's a tragic thing, but I kind of wish they would have mentioned like a little bit more positive, like his time in WWE the first time around and everything like that, because they kind of just gloss over it and everything like that. I don't think they spent enough time talking about it. I feel like it's very quick. They talk about it like it basically just goes from he signed to WWE and then they kind of move on. Like he's already talking about stuff that happened like in 2006. I kind of wish, and again, like it's just really weird. They try to make it seem like him and Giovanni have been married this whole time. He completely forgot the fact that he had 2 other wives and other kids before them. No, but I guess they just never existed. So, yeah. What would you grade this documentary overall and your thoughts on it overall?
I give it like an A. I thought it was a great documentary about Kurt's life, and it's just it's they brought the highs and the lows of his career and his pill addiction and whatnot, and eventually got clean and sober and got inducted to the Hall of Fame, and that's cool. I love it. It was really good. I liked it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, with the tragedy too.
Yeah. So. But again, he completely forgets he has other wives and kids, I guess, though. They just don't exist. So, What are your thoughts about that those wives and other kids just don't exist?
Not in the WWE world, they don't.
I guess not. Maybe I'll bump it up to an A, though, because I think it's hilarious that Stone Cold Steve Austin just bashes TNA. I think that's hilarious. And I don't know if you remember the last thing in the freaking documentary is a TNA clip, actually, when he does the moonsault off the steel cage at Lockdown 2010. So that's hilarious. The last thing in the documentary isn't even their own footage. It's another wrestling company's footage. Like
the minor leagues.
Huh?
It's the minor leagues.
Yeah, I guess so. Funny thing is, I think Stone Cold. Who do you think buried? I think Stone Cold Steve Austin buried TNA more than Triple H buried AEW. Like he didn't even call it the minor leagues. Just like, what are you doing there? That's not on our level. Like he didn't even mention it's the minor leagues. He's just like, he was just like, I could just picture Stone Cold Steve Austin like turned on TNA and then he saw Kurt Angle's out there and he like flipped out like threw stuff around. Like, what are you doing there? Like,
Come on.
get out of there, huh?
Get with the program.
Yeah, like, that's hilarious though. Like that Stone Cold Steve Austin just buried TNA. Like what? That's not like he didn't even mention it was the he like completely buried it. I don't know what's worse than the minor leagues, but he didn't even put. I don't even think to him it was even the minor leagues. What do you think to TNA Stone Cold Steve Austin was thinking that was?
It was carny wrestling.
That was probably what he thought it was. Like. I mean, half the time it was with some of the stuff that was going on there at the time. So he was, but it's just hilarious to think like Stone Cold Steve Austin was just like, "What the hell is this?" Like,
get your ass here. Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's awesome. And yeah, would you have liked to have been in the same room when Stone Cold Steve Austin found out that Kurt Angle was in TNA, like just to see his reaction, like be a fly on the wall? Like,
what the fuck is going on? What the fuck are you doing there? Get to the big leagues, kid.
Oh, it was awesome. But yeah, that's basically it for the show. We have nothing left to talk about. Is there anything you want to talk about, or no?
No, I don't want to talk about anything else.
Okay.
Done talking, but anything else.
What about yeah, what about Dominic Mysterio? Anything you want to say to him right now?
Get a life.
Get a life? He's dating Rhea Ripley right now.
He needs to get a life.
He's the North American champion right now.
That's too bad.
Alright, I guess he's got to get a life. Wouldn't it be hilarious, by the way, is right when the Judgment Day have all the belts, he freaking loses the belt on Tuesday or something? Like,
good.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
That'd be the best day ever.
What's your reaction?
Yeah.
What's your reaction gonna be if he gets thrown out of Judgment Day type of thing? Like
celebrating.
and he has nothing left. What's your gonna be actually gonna be? He's just gonna have nothing. Like
it's just gonna be the greatest thing ever.
Do you want Dominic Mysterio in the minor leagues, and do you not hate him that much?
He can go to the carnies.
Oh no, poor Dom.
Dumb.
Anyhow, before we end this off, is there anything you want to plug or promote, or are you good?
I'm good.
You don't want to plug anything? Not Raw tonight? Nothing?
Well, it's not live, so they're not going to be able to watch it.
That's true. Yeah, but that's pretty much it, guys. For other stuff, we have some retros coming up. We're going to do retro for Bash at the Beach, which is going to be James's last video covering wrestling, I think. And then the Raw that my first wrestling event I went to live, the one where Randy Orton punted John Cena's dad in the head. So you can check that one out. And you can check out stuff out on the Talking Edit channels, and that's pretty much it, guys. And I will talk to you later. Yeah, I guess we'll talk to you later. I make it seem like Chris is never coming back, I guess. So, I guess we'll talk to you later.
Podcast has concluded. Be sure to check out more group discussion as far as WWE content is concerned, and check out more content from For the Win Productions.